Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Browns halftime show with the score 11-7. It sounds like an Indians game, except the Indians wouldn't have gotten the 7. How's everybody doing? This is the kind of game that just irritates the hell out of me. And football comes down to really one main thing, that's execution. The Browns in their first possession had Kareem Hunt wide open in the end zone, and somehow Baker Mayfield got his feet entangled, and we know when his footwork is screwed up, he sails the ball, he sails it over Kareem Hunt's head. Execution, also the Vikings giving up a 26-yard draw play at the end of the half makes you really wonder what in the hell the defensive team just fell asleep. They assumed somebody else was going to make the tackle. I have no idea. This going for fourth down thing, it's becoming a source of stubbornness by the head coach of the Browns as opposed to a strategic advantage. I don't understand what they're doing. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. If they can't stop the running game and you run the ball all the way down the field, why do you start throwing it when you're on the 2-yard line? Why do you do that? Why do you have to rely on a holding call to get you the touchdown? Why don't you just start running the goddamn ball? Why would you run a delayed pattern with Odell Beckham, who I'm getting sick and tired of already? Tired of this, we got to feed Odell. Enough of that shit. You're on the 2-yard line, first down, and you run a pattern that takes time to develop, just asking for the quarterback to get sacked in his backfield, and you end up having to throw it out of the end zone, basically, because Odell never got out of his break. Doesn't make any sense to me. The whole game doesn't make any sense to me. Why have a kicker? Why pay him if you're not going to use him? I don't get it. I also don't understand what's happened to the Vikings. The Browns defense has put a little pressure on Kirk Cousins, and now all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins is like Deshaun Kaiser. I don't know. The Vikings kept trying screen passes and couldn't complete them because the Browns were in Cousins' face. If Dalvin Cook is a great running back, which we know he is, why isn't he getting the ball? And the officiating. I got to tell you, there is no officiating this year. And you can complain that this was an interference or that was an interference, but they're not calling it. Somebody wants this to be a big winner for the under, not the over. And everybody was picking an over of this game of over 53.5 points. Somebody wants to win the under really bad. It's frustrating to me because, we're doing in one respect by running the football because our defense was able to get them off the field. It does us a great service to be able to control the flow of the game and to tire them out, to set them up for the kind of second half fatigue that we're famous for inflicting on teams. But I mean, you take a look at, Baker Mayfield's 11 of 22. Why is he throwing 22 times? And I want to make another point while I'm talking about this. Besides Rashard Higgins, where are our wide receivers? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Baker Mayfield with a 62.3 rating. Kirk Cousins has a 97.6, but most of that was accomplished early in the game. Where are our wide receivers? Higgins has 3 catches. Hunt has 2. Felton has 2. There's only one wide receiver. That Austin Hooper has 1. Njoku has 1. Still no wide receiver. Odell Beckham has 1 for 3 yards. He's not a wide receiver in my mind right now. And Harrison Bryant, 1 for 3 yards. Donovan Peoples-Jones became invisible the second that Odell Beckham came back to the Cleveland Browns. In fact, the entire passing offense has diminished since Odell Beckham Jr. has come back on the field. And you can say, "Whoa, you sound like Colin Cowherd or something." I only know what I see. People aren't open. Mayfield's going back to throw, and they're not open. So he's forced. You can tell when it's going to happen every time. He rolls back, he looks, and it's like, and he starts scrambling to the right. It's like a la Freddie Kitchens era. They're not open. And you know something? I see what Derek is saying, and it's not been a trend, but it's been a trend since after the first week. I can tell you that. Since the end of the first week, the Browns' passing game has been figured out. That's the only thing I can think of. That they know what we're going to do. They can't stop our running game very well, but they're on every single receiver. The scheme isn't getting people open. And I understand that Jarvis Landry is huge for us. I get that. We need him on the field, absolutely. And Rashard Higgins is a pattern runner, and he's the only one getting downfield and getting open a little bit. Anthony Schwartz isn't going to help you. He's afraid to go over the middle, and he can't run a pattern. So I don't know. You're stuck throwing the ball to Kareem Hunt. That's what you're forced to do, or throwing it to Demetric Felton. But the wide receivers are not there. And even the tight ends are being covered now. It's almost like the teams are looking at the film and saying, this is what they really like to go to, and just putting a stop to it. Now, as far as the Browns' defense is concerned, looked like shite the first possession. Then all of a sudden, we started running blitz schemes, and not ordinary blitz schemes, but blitz schemes with John Johnson and with Koromoa, and getting into the backfield and making Cousins feel us, making him throw the ball sooner than he wanted to speed up his mechanics. The way you beat Cousins, we know that he hasn't thrown an interception like in his last 200 plus passes, but you can hurry him and diminish his efficiency. And that's the key. Even if you don't sack him, if you're in his face, or if you're grabbing onto him and reaching and getting a piece of him, his mechanics are disrupted. First of all, his name is Schwartz, not Schultz. Okay? Sorry, wrong comment. The comments are coming so fast. Schwartz. His name, any good Jewish guy would know. His name is Schwartz, and he's nowhere in a situation where he is going to affect anybody, because he can just run straight line patterns. Total waste of time. He's the third round pick who you would expect they picked because he's sheer speed, but he doesn't really have anything else. He's not going to help you blocking. So, if the running game's what's working, that's what. The good news in all of this is that we looked like shit to start the game out, and we had, once again, the 2 fourth down failures. We've been moving the ball consistently down the field, and we're in a position up 11-7, and getting the ball in the beginning of the second half. That's good stuff for us. So that makes for something really good. As far as other things are concerned, Dalvin Cook, 6 carries for 17 yards. And yeah, I think you can say that the Browns' run defense is better than it has been since I can remember. I think that's quite accurate. I think that the receivers, though, the Minnesota receivers can win one-on-ones against the Browns if you give Kirk Cousins time. And the key is to continue to run people in his face and to do these blitzes that get people somewhat untouched into the backfield so he sees them out of the corner of his eye. So far, Thielen has 1 catch for 22. He has not been a factor yet. All right? And I'll say another thing about execution. It should be 11-3. But when you make mistakes miscommunications between John Johnson III and Denzel Ward as to who is going to cover the man in the end zone when you're in a zone scheme. This is the kind of thing that makes me wonder, why are we running a zone scheme? Denzel Ward is a press coverage defensive back, and you could see that, and Johnson looked at him like, where were you? Ward's like, well, where were you? It's very, very confusing to me. And without knowing what the play call is and what guys are supposed to do, they obviously don't know either. I can't assess blame on something like that, except they had two men in the area. They should have been able to defense that pass. It comes down to execution. If they don't understand whatever the zone calls are as far as the secondary, they should eliminate that and become a press team more frequently, because we look better as a press team. We haven't had a bad call coming out with Greedy Williams' name associated with it, so that's good. That's a good thing. There's been no real Myles Garrett sighting, and that doesn't surprise me after a big game. I've never seen him put two really big games together, back to back to back. That's where we stand. We stand 11-7, a damn sight better than where I thought we would be, quite honestly. And in the team stats, just so y'all know, I mean, the Cleveland Browns are out first downing the Vikings, who have been doing that to their opponents all season long. And time of possession is 18-11 in favor of the Browns. The Browns need to get the ball in the beginning of the second half and just say, to hell with all of this nonsense with downfield throwing if we're not open, and let's pound the ball and possession the ball and wear them down here in the third quarter and open up with a 7, okay? And go up 18-7. I'm out of here. I hit my 12-minute mark. I'm going to be back after the game with the post-game show, and we'll have plenty more to talk about then. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and come on, Browns, let's bring it home. Go Browns! See you after the game.